Hi, welcome back to Your Future, Your Finances. We're talking again with Dr. Samantha Rodman, a clinical psychologist based in Anne Arundel County.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
So we were talking about divorce and its effect on children. You have a book coming out later in the year on that topic. Tell us a little bit more about it and the name.
So my book is How to Talk to Your Kids About Your Divorce, and that's being published on September 15th. It's available right now for pre-order on Amazon. And it really guides you through, step by step, how to talk to your kids about divorce from the initial announcement all the way through to questions that may come up later on as your children age, even years after the divorce.
And what do you think the effects on a child typically are? What happens over time?
Well, it really depends on your child's age and their personality level and their individual relationships with each parent, and also how the marriage was previous to the divorce. So in some cases, actually, if it was a very conflictual marriage, a child will not be as upset or as surprised by a divorce.
Sure.
Because it's kind of a relief, especially if then the divorce leads to a more amicable relationship between the parents. Of course, if there ends up being a contentious, custody battle, that sort of thing, then it's bad for the kids. But sometimes it will be a relief that the parents are no longer fighting. Whereas in a relationship where the parents were, doing the right thing by getting along in front of the kids, sometimes the divorce can come as a huge shock that can totally get the kids off kilter because nobody was expecting anything. And the effects can, so some kids are fine because kids are very resilient, so they will of course be upset and surprised, but within a few months they can acclimate to a new routine. Other kids will start acting out in school, they will act angry, they'll start having nightmares, younger kids may regress. So, for example, having potty accidents when they were already potty trained, acting like a baby, because then things were okay when they were a baby, they think, kind of subconsciously, so they revert. All sorts of things. Sometimes teenagers can start to party more, become promiscuous, especially if there's new relationships involved after the divorce. They kind of get the idea that that's okay if there's less supervision. It all depends. But if the parents stay on track and there's supervision, both parents express their continued love and support, and there aren't any dramatic changes that the child is unaware of or that come as a shock, then most kids can acclimate to a new routine.
So that's while they're still a child, and then we were talking about their outlook on life. They may view life or marriage differently, perhaps.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of books on the idea that children of divorce, they don't sometimes trust marriage as much or trust monogamy, especially, of course, if a relationship deteriorated because of infidelity or because of mismanagement of money, hiding, things like that, gambling, things like that will really lead to a lack of trust. Most of the time, if parents just have differences in their personality and either one or both moves on to have a healthy relationship with another person in the future, then a child can have that as a good model. But if your only model of a monogamous relationship is one that was filled with conflict and that ended in divorce, and then even continued conflict beyond that, then it's really difficult to trust in marriage and in monogamy in general.
So there's a statistic that says 50% of all marriages end in divorce, as thrown around a lot. Is that accurate?
It's actually not. There was a high point of divorce in the 70s and 80s, and then after that, things have been looking up for marriage. A lot of people, in every subsequent decade, the rates of divorce are actually falling. So we're still getting certain statistics because we're taking into account that generation, but marriage is actually improving. The outlook for marriage is improving, and if things continue at this linear rate, then it will be 2/3 of marriages where people remain together.
That's good.
Yeah, and also within certain groups, like people who have a college education and who marry later in life, the divorce rate is very low. It's around 20% or less for certain groups, and it helps that people are marrying later and later when they know themselves more, and then they're less likely to get divorced.
That's good.
Yeah, definitely.
That's great. So do you have a website or a Twitter handle you want to give out?
Yes, I do. So that's www.drpsychmom.com, and my Twitter is also Dr. Psych Mom, and you can find me on Facebook, Dr. Psych Mom as well.
And then there's a couple articles that you write that go on to other sites as well?
Yes, I write for the Huffington Post. I've written for the Washington Post on parenting. I write for Scary Mommy, Babbel, and a whole bunch of other sites as well if you want to check up on my other articles.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Thanks for coming on the show.
Oh,
I appreciate
thank you
it.
for
Anything
having
else
me.
you wanted to share?
Oh, no,
Appreciate you coming on.
great. Thank you.
All right. We're going to take a break, and then we're coming back. We're going to talk about a tax credit program available in Maryland. It should be a good opportunity and a lot of good information. We'll be right back. Thanks very much. You're watching Your Future, Your Finances.